for the red team, and if the Thresh Urgot priority is a constant as well, or if Karma is even going to be hit inside of the pick ban. So here we go, Jin Air versus DAMWON Gaming, game number 1. Starting things off with a Vladimir ban against Nuguri. He is one of the famous and powerful Vladimir players.
Yeah.
Inside
it makes sense. You just don't want to give that over to him any time of the day. And you never know with Ares either. You can flex it. Obviously, you would want to get it onto Nuguri, but given the lanes and the way it can be flexed, you just don't want to have that go over. They also ban away the Jace from Nuguri, so big target bans here. Jace definitely a decent ban in general, but also pretty good here for Nuguri.
Now we'll see if DAMWON wants to ban away the Ezreal or the Karma. And instead, actually, the Cassiopeia. This was a question we were just talking about in the previous cast, is where was she? She was not showing her head in some of the previous games at all, and she is still very powerful. The nerfs affect her if the opponent falls into a coma and stands on top of the miasma for the entire duration, sure, but that's not really what is making Cassiopeia so oppressive and so strong inside of the meta.
Yeah.
And so now, Yasuo being banned away, and I really like Jin Air's ban. They're obviously very specifically targeted at DAMWON, and the way that blue team meta is right now is this is, for the most part, all that they can really tend to do because of the way that the power picks are, and now DAMWON has an option here. Do you ban Ezreal and maybe give away Karma and have a fun game? Or just, you know, nothing. I mean, you're on red side, so banning away Lissandra when you have counter pick. And that's going to be a Galio.
Yeah.
And that's not a champion I was expecting to see at all, especially not as a first pick priority when so many counter picks are still available. Zoe is still on the table. Vayne is something that we've seen sometimes, especially in other regions, does exist to answer the Galio. And Zoe is in a fantastic spot right now, so it's very surprising. You're also potentially, yeah, there it is. There's the Ezreal. And I mean, you can throw Karma in here to boot if you really want to be extremely obnoxious.
That'd be nice, but how about a LeBlanc for Showmaker? Is an option, especially with Showmaker and the way that he plays on that LeBlanc. He is going to take it real early here, prioritizing that LeBlanc pick.
LeBlanc early is a little bit interesting, especially because Galio doesn't necessarily mean that it has to go mid. A lot of players have, especially in solo queue lately, have been picking it in the support role. And so that LeBlanc could be a blind LeBlanc, which means that Showmaker could end up getting counterpicked, which is very bizarre to have happen to you when you're the red team. And now Urgot and Lee Sin locked in for Jin Air Green Wings. So lots of power picks coming out so far. And we'll see what DAMWON Gaming wants to do here. Now, there's so many junglers left open, you don't really have to select it here. They're hovering the Tahm Kench. I guess they just want to get that safe bottom lane enabled. Ezreal Tahm Kench, especially on red side, very, very difficult to gank that. It's almost near impossible, and what that means is that your next follow-up picks for DAMWON Gaming, with the LeBlanc already locked in, you can choose a powerful top and jungle dynamic and play that mid-top jungle, like I was mentioning just before we hopped into pick ban. And now here's the Sivir pinch.
Oh, he's got to pinch the Sivir early. Don't want to let that one plop out onto the field.
The Nocturne is a really interesting band. I think that generally when you have Galio and you have Urgot Nocturne, the last thing Nocturne's thinking is, let me dive one of the teammates. Even though the Paranoia can turn off the ability to Galio ultimate, when you're playing as the blue team and you're able to turtle and defend your blue side jungle in later stages of the game, and DAMWON has already shown an extremely aggressive mid lane champion inside of the LeBlanc that needs to get kills, needs to snowball early. It's a little bit surprising of a ban, but Kai'Sa now taken off the table by DAMWON. And this does still leave Vayne as an option and also as a traditional counter to Ezreal down in the bottom lane. And with also showing the Tahm Kench face up as early as they did, there's definitely supports that can abuse that champion. Let's see. DAMWON now, I think if you want to play it super safe, you just go with the jungle pick here. Yeah, okay. So, Olaf.
Olaf, anyway, for the counter there for Nuguri. Forced Jin Air to show their entire hand. And if we do get this Victor, it could be in the bottom lane, or it might just be support Galio. We will get the confirmation here on this last pick.
It'd be really cool to see like a Victor Soraka or something at that point. Makes it very difficult for Olaf to actually kill targets in the later stages of the game. Silence is so powerful. Okay, so we're going to have Victor Galio, I'm assuming, down there in the bottom lane. And that's going to be a Ryze mid lane to answer the LeBlanc. And this is sort of what I was talking about with showing that LeBlanc face up. But now, now that Ryze is... You have no ultimates. What? What? What?
I mean, you have the Urgot ultimate, but...
You have Urgot. You have Chaos Storm, but you're building tanks, so you're not getting any ratios on it, so it's tickling the opponents. You're not going to be in a position to Lee Sin kick anyone, because the only person that you're going to be running onto is most likely going to be a Lee Sin or an Urgot. And even if you kick a Galio, you don't kick him into your own team. I'm not really quite sure what ultimate Sylas is trying to steal here. DAMWON might. They might fall victim to Sylas.
I was about to say, like, let's, you know, what a better way to just tank the win rate of Sylas even more. Pick it in here, see what happens. It's almost like Nuguri's going to have a bit of fun, but in all seriousness, I mean, all the LCK teams are just rating this pick so high, but a lot of us have just been watching and scratching our heads and saying, I don't really get it. It's not really doing what you want it to do, at least, and... Yeah.
Let's just take
we'll
another.
have to wait and see.
Take another quick look at the team compositions. Talk about what they're trying to achieve. About to come up on the screen here in a second.
Well,
this is a weird. I don't remember the camera doing
no,
this.
no AR for this game.
Wait a second.
Yeah, we're just zooming in on the.
Okay.
On behind the players.
That's what Sylas does.
Yeah.
Breaks everyone. Huh?
LeBlanc not entirely there as well.
Give me my give me my graphics.
Yeah, you don't get them, LS.
What?
Sorry. You can talk about it in game because, guys, we are ready to get into Jin Air versus DAMWON game number 1. Well, here we are. It is Jin Air up against DAMWON, and Jin Air not wasting any time to start off with the shenanigans, getting up on the top side here. As, in fact, no one is in here just yet. They do have the ability to reach for some kills and, of course, engage potential.
They're definitely looking, for a cheesy play. Let's take some time to talk about what both team comps want to do. Urgot, Lee Sin, Ryze, Victor, and Galio. These champions all want 2 items. Ryze wants time to wake up. Victor wants time to get his Hex Core, get his first core component item. And the longer that this game goes, the better it gets for them. Olaf is going to begin to slow down after 2 items. He's going to basically be irrelevant. LeBlanc is going to have a really hard time due to how naturally tanky the members on Jin Air are going to be. Victor with the shields, Ryze with the shields, etc. And Ezreal is going to be the real focal point for DAMWON Gaming, and he's going to be the one that can really take over the game. So this is going to be an Ezreal show. We just got SK Telecom earlier needing a Zoe to show up. DAMWON needs Ezreal to show up if this game goes even and goes late.
That's very true. We'll see if Ares, the new addition to this lineup, can put on the Ezreal show. We've seen a lot of them so far, but would it be his own brand? No doubt. As they had a ward on the red buff of Malrong, and because of that they saw, hey, the Lee Sin's not starting red buff. That's a little bit weird. Let me go in and check. Nuguri was actually getting on in there very slowly to check the red buff and make sure no one was starting it and no shenanigans were happening there. And now they will see the Lee Sin on the red. So nice amount of information going the way of DAMWON.
And so far Punch clearing his blue side jungle, and now he's just going to progress into a full clear, and he's getting the better end of this. You can see Malrong started on his blue, transitions into his red, and then gets his golems. And I think what maybe he's trying to do is coordinate a gank down here in bottom lane around level 3, but it's going to be very difficult to orchestrate And so because of the way that he's elected to path, Olaf's now going to be on the left-hand side. He's going to give Silas safety. And he's going to get all of his rubber band camps to respawn before Malrong. And so already, I mean, we're 3 minutes into the game, but DAMWON Gaming is already ahead on the map.
Yeah, Punch just going to go to the bottom side, take the Scuttle Crab, go to the top side, take the Scuttle Crab. You were talking about full clears, but double Scuttle alongside everything else could be pretty nice. He has taken Predator, so could consider a back and picking up the boots right now, but instead he's going to go ahead and take away Agatha, the Gromp there on the top side. So we'll see how he feels about that. Definitely getting a lot of farm at least.
He needs to clean that back. He needs to exfoliate. I do not know what I was just looking at. Oh, man. Well, definitely treat that with some antibiotics as Punch is about to move back into his red side jungle.
It's clear that it doesn't bother Punch, at least. So
yeah.
He's fine with that. And, yeah, Predator jungle, but still goes for the mega bonus full clear as he steals the Gromp too and then goes into the Raptors. Obviously, the Raptors always very fast for an Olaf, but he's continuing on to red buff and maybe even his own Krugs.
Yeah. Malrong really far behind right now. This is really tragic. He checks the brush with a Q and then places a ward there, but not really going to achieve anything as Punch has no intention of ganking. He's just letting himself power farm while his laners are all completely fine without him. This is really a terrible situation. Look at his XP bar. He's almost level 5. Malrong's still level 3.
Yeah. Definitely feeling bad and spending a lot of time just sort of walking around the map, not really farming all too much either. He's going to get down to his respawn Krugs now at least. But you can see he's already 4 camps behind right now as Nova looking for it. Nearly able to snipe an Akka.
He's looking like Helen Keller right now. I'm not quite sure.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
They're almost here. I mean, okay,
he
so
is Lee Sin, right?
All right, they're left. Press Q. All right, I helped him out. All right, so
go.
I'm a coach, by the way. Yeah, so I had to let him know. But for people wondering, I mean, he doesn't have anything to do. He can't set up a gank down in bottom lane. The lane's too pushed. They're on cooldown. There's no way to do anything.
Nuggery, he is looking for maybe a back, but he just TP'd back to lane. I can understand trying to get Klepto procs, but you lost more than half your health bar by taking 2 turret shots. So he's actually going to go for a back. After pushing out that wave, he's not going to be too bothered by it, as Punch is just power farming. You see this sometimes in solo queue, not always in professional play, where the jungle gets more CS than the mid laner, but it's happening here today, guys, as Punch, he wants a fast level 6.
Well, he's going to get it way before Malrong is going to be able to even come close to contesting him. And with the Predator boots and everything, powering down lanes 2 levels ahead of the enemy jungle, or level and a half ahead, is going to be really scary.
He lets the Q. Showmaker forced to flash away from that one. Missed Mimic Chains onto Malrong means that will just be the flash in the trade for that one.
Well, now down here in bottom lane, looking to get their first plate.
Uh-oh, Grace. So he is able to get away from that one as Hoyt getting on in there with his unsealed spellbook teleport. But Grace is able to use that ultimate to good effectiveness at level 6.
And we're getting a lot of pressure relief, as well as making these players have to respect them. So now Grace is going to finish clearing this wave. He does have the teleport available to him, although it looks like he wants to stay in the lane, I think. He's getting the blue hand off, even though Gromp is up. And it would be very surprising to see him consume the blue and then recall immediately. And the reason that I say that is just because you would end up wasting so much of the duration by eating it, pushing one wave, recalling, and then coming back. Especially when Lee Sin could have just simply pushed the Gromp, let you try to push in the wave, then leash the blue for you. You teleport, you eat it, you go into mid lane, completely refreshed.
Well, he is going to stick around the mid lane for now, at least, as you will notice. Showmaker has picked up the second stage of the Frostmancy and is no longer CSing. Just hanging around the mid lane, poking away at the Rise. That will also explain why he's down on a bunch of the CS. He's not actually trying to CS, he's just trying to get the health down so the tower kills it faster so it doesn't take as much damage.
Yeah.
It's the next level here in this 1 week meta.
And so right now, we're taking a look at all of the lanes. And it looks like Ares wants to just shove in this bottom lane. He uses the ultimate. And now the Olaf is going to hand over the blue, I believe, to Showmaker after he shoves in this mid lane. And again, he's not CSing anymore because of the Spell Thieves. He wants to make sure that he completes that item, and so until then, he's just going to consume cannon minions. Agri now looking to pick up the Scuttle Crab. He doesn't really, never mind. Opts out of it.
Yeah. Just, for you guys who are confused in the mid lane, the LeBlanc not actually trying to CS here. Can look pretty funny as he is just wildly missing everything. That's the way it is supposed to go. As Punch still wildly ahead of Malrong in terms of gold and even XP in this game.
Oh,
that's a visual bug.
Okay.
It's got to be Punch wasn't out of the brush just in that moment. Finally comes out as Malrong and Linderong say, we've got Grace coming in first. We can rotate on over to the red buff, and they will steal it away. Nice little microplay here by the side of Jin Air.
Definitely nice coordination. Oh.
Trying to land a chain, but Showmaker gonna eat a bunch of that damage.
Oh.
As the ultimate's stolen here by Nuguri, is gonna get the knockup on a Grace now, and here comes the Abyssal Voyage. They want to punish Grace, but he will be able to flash away from that one. But Nova coming in, and he gets a 3-man taunt. Oh baby, what a play from them. Linderong able to pick up first blood in the mid lane off of the back of that nice little play from Nova.
And now, oh,
okay.
Malrong.
Hoyt gonna donate one over as well. Malrong saw that one coming on the ward. They immediately pinged that one out, but 2 kills already for Jin Air.
And now the game is actually looking really good for them. We talked about how they scale better. They have more effectiveness the longer that this game goes, and these kills are going to help them accelerate to that point much sooner. We take a look at this, and you can see Showmaker really wanted to make something happen, but in doing so lost 50% of his HP. Nuguri doing the best Sylas impression that we've seen in many regions across the world. Gets the Urgot ultimate, casts it, not able to do anything, and then everyone's pinned against the wall right here, not able to really do anything. They get locked up, Fear Beyond Death. That'll be Golden Guardians on repeat for Nuguri.
So he sees Malrong go down and then just doesn't respect the chance that there's a ward in there. And Hoyt gets punished big time. He does that in vision. It's definitely a mistake. That gives that extra little bonus gold over to the side of Malrong.
Coming back into the live game now, 1.5k gold. Oh, no, just a little bit under that actually. As Malrong hops over the wall. Another visual bug. That looked really scary. I don't know what's about to happen.
Sounded like you were casting it. It's like, yes, and another visual bug here in the game. As, yeah, I'd like to get that fixed ASAP. As now Punch is nearby. He still has that level advantage on Malrong, but Malrong definitely able to catch up a bit as well. Hoyt doesn't have his cleanse as Chaos Storm going to push him away from the bottom lane.
And Malrong taking this opportunity to try to solo the Rift Herald. And he's doing a lot for his team, despite the really brutal start where he couldn't do anything at all, and Punch got so far ahead. But so far, as this game's been progressing, Malrong doing a fantastic job. He's going to be able to get this Herald. Still 1 minute and 50 seconds remaining on turret plates. Would really like to see them try to convert this into some plate captures. We've seen a lot of teams, they get this Herald, they don't use it in time to get the turret plates, but realistically you can look at it as a free 500 plus gold if you utilize it very well and at the right timing.
I mean, it's a huge swing that you really don't want to give up, and it looks like with TP to the bottom lane and Lee Sin heading that way, maybe we will have a play in the bottom side. Ping goes down onto that bottom side as well, as 2 plates have already been taken by the Jin Air bottom lane here of Root and Nova, so definitely could be a direction they look.
And he casts the Ignite to get access back onto his teleport. So definitely possibly expecting some sparks to fly, but that could show Jin Air's hand face up.
As, well, Grace was farming Raptors, wanted to get punished for it. Look at the timing here. Finally, we see some of these teams coming on in here. And what is this Jin Air early game? They don't want to be the team that wins 0-8. They want to be the 1-7 team, as certainly off to a fantastic start here in game 1.
And Nova trying to run for his life. I think he's going to get locked. Oh, no. Tether just ended up breaking. Mountain Drake definitely needs to be a very high priority for both of these teams. It'll definitely help with shredding the Baron later on, but also penetrating turrets. You really need the Mountain Drake if you're DAMWON's team composition, because in the later stages of the game, the Ryze and the Victor are going to wave clear endlessly, and so any chip damage, that extra little amount of true damage can add for the Ezreal or the LeBlanc auto-attacking the turrets at range, really begins to build up against Ryze and Victor.
And you can see that Malrang just checking the Mountain Drake right now. Doesn't look like he wants to go for it just yet. He's just checking, as DWG absolutely not going for that just yet, but they do have a ward on it, and here comes Grace and the rest of Jin Air. With this early play, they are going to get on top of this Drake, so we'll see what Showmaker can do. Punch is coming in, is going to get in range actually for a smite steal, as they want to stop this one going in, and he disappears. What happened to the Lee Sin? It's going to go the way of DAMWON. As, well, he gets the knock-up on a Grace. It's going to interrupt that one. See you later. They're actually going for the dive. Oh, the chains, they do land. And here's Silas / Galio to end your life. That's going to be a Drake and a kill. Couple of kills going the way of DWG.
Yeah, and these games are just swinging so back and forth. Teleport from Ares called into mid lane so that the push could not continue on to the tier 2 punch. Picks up some of the golems away from Malrang, and now they're looking to raise the bottom tier 1. And this wasn't what I had in mind when I was thinking about DAMWON versus Jin Air. There's a lot of fireworks flying in this series.
Yeah, you know, DAMWON at least is a team that likes to get in here, but we can see how this fell apart here for Jin Air.
Well, take a look at the initial Dragon, and like you said, Malrang completely deleted. And you look at the back line, the Tahm Kench, no one from Jin Air Green Wings wanted to continue in. Nuguri able to temporarily lock up Grace. He flashes away, but it doesn't matter, as Thomas was just on the horizon with the Abyssal Voyage, able to tank so much of the turret damage. Punch shortly after that proceeded right to the golems. And now as we return to live, 16 minutes in, still a slight gold lead for Jin Air Green Wings, and again, really important because they scale harder. Normally the scaling team is the one that you would expect would be behind at certain parts of the game.
It's all that early gold they were able to pick up, even if they had one big whoopsie at the Drake. At least their early game was much better than the whoopsie. As nice little way to put down a ward there, as LeBlanc. It can always be quite slippery on that champion. Showmaker able to just pop forward, put down a ward, checks the Lee Sin, says hello, and then waves goodbye.
Oh, and now, ooh, okay. No poke gonna actually end up coming down, and Grace actually ends up finding, okay, well.
He's on a ward here.
That's
Hops back, though.
A lot of damage, though, instantly.
Yeah. He knew that he couldn't quite finish him off, didn't want to get that risky, especially because it is Aftershock Rise, so. Definitely the rune of choice when you are up against a LeBlanc, especially LeBlanc that is now 2-0 and is beginning to pop off once again here for Showmaker.
And the other thing about this is LeBlanc now having access to that support item Showmaker's also able to place down wards, and this really helps with the vision control that is going to be extremely important to controlling the vision around the blue side jungle of Jin Air Green Wings when you're trying to secure the Baron. And as I mentioned, you know, you're going up against the Victor and the Ryze. The Mountain Drake's really important, not just for penetrating the turrets, but threatening that Baron, because otherwise it becomes very difficult to penetrate the blue side jungle through all those nooks and crannies when you're trying to go through the gravity field of Victor or just a narrow corridor against Ryze where he can get massive AoE.
That's very true, and taking a look at Nuggery so far, we saw the tank Sylas in game number 1 of SKT versus Gen G earlier on tonight. We were not very impressed, especially from behind, so Nuggery wanted to give us a little bit of a treat and go for AP. Sylas has the Proto Belt into what looks like a Zhonya's next. Definitely more of a damage-friendly build here from this side.
And by having this damage, it will definitely make these stolen ultimates a little bit scarier. We talked before how a tank Sylas would not really be doing all that much with a Lee Sin kick or even a Victor ult. And obviously stealing a Ryze ultimate doesn't really amount to too much.
Nice little play by DAMWON to get up to the top side with the Tahm Kench, just helping out and getting that Abyssal Voyage up there. They essentially take a turret for free as Jin Air, they get a bit of farm in the mid lane. They take some of the blue side CS in the jungle, but not that much else. We do have the Cloud Drake coming up here in about 30 seconds. Everybody going for a back, and as it stands now in the gold, still very even, which as you mentioned, is going to be good for the scaling of the Jin Air comp.
Right now, DAMWON Gaming, they're trying to push, but look at how healthy that mid-tier 1 turret is. What a nightmare it's going to be to try to bring that down. It's at 100% HP almost, or about 95%. And Victor, he already has the Luden's Echo. He has a Hex Core upgrade. Ryze almost going to be able to complete his tier item.
Showmaker just trying to do his thing here and poke down the enemy team as much as possible before we do get to this Drake fight.
And this is what's really confusing to me is the Cloud Drake, how much of an impact is it really going to have for Jin Air Green Wings team composition? Because they're basically an immobile siege unit. They are a giant cannon.
They're a siege tank.
They are a siege tank. They're a ballista. They want to move forward as a group, as a unit. They want to hold a phalanx, and that's the way that they end up team fighting with the long-range Victor or an Urgot engage off of a Righteous Glory. So committing to the Cloud Drake doesn't really make all that much sense to them. And on the flip side, for DAMWON, they're going to pick it up. They're going to probably hope to roll a mountain, and they do. Because
only when LS casts, of course, you know.
Yep.
He's got the poker chips on his side.
After they consume that mountain, let me tell you what's going to spawn next. Brendan, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right.
Give it to me.
An Infernal.
Infernal? That's
Yes.
That's a big call.
That is a pretty big call.
As
Yep.
Punch, not quite able to get away from that one, so they do get a Ryze ultimate and a Lee Sin flash. As Jin Air was trying to answer the other objective by taking the top tier 1, but it ends up actually staying up.
And the gold lead is non-existent as they are even here. So what I'm going to need everyone to do is just relax, settle into your chairs, couches, driver's seat if you're watching this while on the road. Hopefully
What?
not, but...
What?
And
There's some people that tune in on the radio.
You know what I'm really hoping for? I'm hoping for something to just go catastrophically wrong at 50 minutes in the game, and we get a chrono break, doesn't work, we get a remake. That would really make me excited.
Well, Jin Air games definitely have the proclivity to go very long for multiple reasons. Their own kind of passive play style from ahead, as well as sometimes I feel like we get more pauses in Jin Air series. I'm not really sure why, but seems to be a thing.
Turbulence.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. That's what you need.
You figured it out, guys.
Oh, man.
That's what we hired you for.
This is it. This is the epitome of this game.
Yeah.
We're going to see a couple more. All right, so 3 minutes until Mountain Drake, so what about 6 more waves are going to crash into mid. They're going to be met by a Victor Death Ray. Olaf will throw a couple more axes, blue side jungle. Don't really mind about that. Ryze is busy pressing Q and E up in top lane. Wave's going to go into LeBlanc. She'll press W, CS that. Coming back into mid, same story. Silas is going to send that wave into Urgot.
But how do you know? How could you possibly know?
He's still throwing axes. Hold on, Brendan. Best part's coming. Minions.
Oh, yeah?
Hold on.
Is this when Root gets to shine?
Hold on. Here they come. Watch what Victor does. Watch. Ready?
I'm ready.
Whoa! Amazing.
I mean, you just look at the mid-tier 1 turret and you say, well, yeah, that's never losing health. It's just, it's going to be the same for a very long time. As, you know, it's Ryze, it's Victor, it's Galio. Just pushing that away. So LeBlanc got her turn up in the top side. Maybe now Grace will return to the top side and farm that one up. Who answers the Silas in the bottom lane, though?
Well, it doesn't really matter. Silas can't actually
mystery.
threaten the turret. So, Urgot. Now, still a minute and a half remaining until the mountain, so let me break down the game, and then we'll enter back into a pause. Urgot's going to push this wave, and then he's going to push the next wave. Ryze will push the current wave and the next wave, too. Victor's going to press E after he comes back from his recall.
He bought items.
He did buy items. I didn't weave that into my speech.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So.
Well, technically it is after the beginning of, you know, when you said Urgot and Ryze were going to push the waves. So.
I actually think this is a really big itemization mistake here out of Grace. He has the Oblivion Orb, but the enemy team was already showing that they were going to itemize into magic resist, and you have to know that you and Victor are going to be the main focal points of the team's damage. You shouldn't get Oblivion Orb because it's just going to be completely outclassed by Void Staff. It's a complete waste of gold. It's like having Mage Eyes on 0 stacks.
So you're saying the flat pen isn't as good as the 40% because they're going to be stacking so much MR?
Yeah.
It's almost like you've been doing this for a while.
It's almost like, you know.
It seems like you got some experience at this. I don't know where is this all coming from?
Oh, I'll tell you where it's coming from. In about, hold on, give me about 15 seconds. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. What happens around the mountain drink, though? That's a question I've always had.
Boiler it. Shh, hold on, Victor's pressing E.
I like that. That's good.
Oh, man.
Well, how about Silas in the top lane? We got a bunch of pings up here as Jin Air, no, they're not going to let that happen. Perhaps because of the mountain drink, which is very important to both of these teams, as you mentioned before. Red buff actually going to be stolen here by the side of DAMWON Gaming as, well, they start the Drake, but then they don't actually finish it just yet.
They don't want to commit to it. And so while the Dragon is live, oh, actually now, Punch, looks like he's just going to solo it. And I think Jin Air might try to go for a weird, why are you committing everyone to top lane? If you're not at the Dragon, it's not that difficult to deduce. Wait a minute. Where else could they be?
It's time for Baron. Go Baron.
It's not an Infernal.
You were close. I mean, you know,
I mean, it's
still,
almost
still an A, right? It's still above 90%.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah. I mean, Ryze definitely could have taken the top tier 1 by himself nearly. You know, maybe Silas is back to be respectful of the entire team coming up to make sure that they got that one. But definitely a second Mountain Drake is going to be so much more valuable to the side of DAMWON, as they would love to take out these objectives up against the push and the minion clearing of Root and Grace at this point in time.
Hold on. You ready?
I'm ready, yeah.
Here it comes. Wait for it.
He didn't do it.
He didn't do it. No.
Why are you trying to hype
what
this
you
up
were
if it's not going to happen? This is what we pay you for. Like, come on. You got to be on the timing with the lasers. Otherwise, you know, I get excited for nothing.
Oh man, hold on, here it comes.
What's the point? Okay.
There it is.
All right, there you go.
Just let it happen. What a gentleman's agreement.
I mean, DWG doesn't really have much of another choice right now. They're just sitting here waiting to get some items on Ezreal.
Oh man. You know, actually, with Double Mountain, one of the options that does open up, especially with the AP ratio that Sylas does have in that Iceberg Mullet, I do think that you can just two-man it with Sylas and Olaf.
Really?
And Double Mountain's actually really interesting. It's a little bit different than just one mountain, not because 1 and 2, but that damage does open up the possibility to start two-manning Baron for certain champions. And with Olaf's sustain and the fact that Sylas actually does have some damage inside of his kit, I actually think it should be a relatively easy thing to try to attempt at least for DAMWON.
Something to consider for sure as an option here. Instead, they are looking to put on the pressure here up against Victor's E.
Victor getting nervous. He might have
Let's
to
see
press
how this
another
goes.
button.
Okay, it looks like they want to actually turn it around. Oh, big taunt there by Nova, but there's no one really to follow him up. Oh, I spoke too soon. As in goes the Urgot. They get 2 kills off of the back of that. Who is this Galio monster? Nova coming up big. And has his team finally, feels like for the first time here for Jin Air, to back him up.
And so I like what Nuguri is doing. He's pushing in the wave and threatening the mid-tier 1 turret, but Jin Air says, look, we're not going to be dissuaded, as they are shredding that Baron now. Punch does have his smite available.
Oh, we got the Galio ultimate too. They could try to all in on this one. It's a lot of damage, but Victor is going to get that one. Big knock-up here from Nuguri, but they're not willing to take the 3v5. And for Jin Air, I mean, they get the Baron. This is all they could have ever wanted. You know, they give away the 2 Mountain Drakes. They get a couple of kills and a Baron. That's fantastic.
Well, here's the problem now, Brendan, is that DAMWON Gaming, they're essentially a poke comp with the Ezreal, because Olaf, I mean, he's been the same champion for the past 10 minutes. Sylas, he's not going to have a real ult to steal in this upcoming team fight, I believe, because of the base cooldown on it. But look at that taunt from Galio. That, I mean, all eyes on him in this team fight. And they're having catfish tonight. So they're eating
It's a
good.
big one.
Yeah. But I don't think DAMWON Gaming can actually resist the push from Jin Air. Even though the gold score at the top is even, don't let it mislead you. Jin Air Green Wings are really, really, really far ahead. If we could just hit X on the champions and see how much gold Olaf has total, just subtract that from DAMWON Gaming's total amount, and that's the real picture.
Well, in the last team fight, I suppose that's not including the Baron. We do see that the Urgot actually ended up doing the most damage, but you can see our support Galio was really popping off in that one. Second most damage in that fight, as it was basically just the Nova show. And Linderong just following up on a good play, so well done to them. Get Linderong back in the lineup, sitting at 3-0-1. You're up against DAMWON Gaming, who have been touted as one of the better teams here in the LCK, but still at times they make you wonder.
And here comes the incoming push. Now, Victor deals massive amount of Victor E. No? No, not today. All right, there it is. He found it. He found it. We just had to tell him that minions weren't the only thing to cast that on.
Okay, everybody trying to get on top of Linderong, but the chain misses as DAMWON going for a set play with the TP and the Abyssal Voyage, but nothing lands. He's even got a Guardian Angel on an Urgot.
Yeah.
It's another way to just never die as Urgot, and I can't believe I'm saying this. Jin Air looked pretty good to snipe this game away.
It's actually looking like there's probably going to be nothing that DAMWON can do. Ryze is shoving in that top lane. He also has his ultimate, so Grace is still with his team. One of the things that he could do is I think he can just ult the top minions into mid right now. He could do that and then just go with them. And then they could immediately begin the siege with 2.5 minion waves.
Yeah.
And you could use that to actually threaten Nexus turret. So he does it, but without the minions, which not really quite sure why, but I guess it is an unusual Ryze play that you won't see that much. Yeah.
It's a LS level play.
So.
As, well, they're trying to get on in there. Chaos Storm with AP Silas. Really got to respect that one. And the rest of Jin Air just say, okay, we don't need that inhibitor. We'll let that one go. So they only do take out the turret. But as you mentioned, still, you know, ahead on gold on the actual screen, but definitely very far ahead in terms of the scaling here.
Yes, and now DAMWON Gaming, they are so excited to pick up this Ocean Drake. But the one thing that it will do for them is it puts an Elder on the table, and now the Baron is going to expire. And so if DAMWON, if Jin Air Green Wings don't end up closing this game in the next 5 minutes, there's a very real chance that DAMWON have one last hope, which is that Elder. Yeah. Because with the Elder, the LeBlanc, the Olaf, the Ezreal, they can just dish out so much damage, and especially the Ezreal. And that can really actually help DAMWON Gaming close out this game.
Yeah, I like that idea. And knowing what we've seen from Jin Air before, where they really struggle with, you know, map plays and macro, who knows? Maybe you steal it away from underneath their noses. We saw it earlier on where DAMWON just soloed a Mountain Drake, and Jin Air was like, we're going to send 4 people top to take out, you know, 50 health on a top tier 1 turret. So I could absolutely see it happening. But again, we are going to have to wait about 4 minutes for that Elder.
Well, here we go now as Baron is coming up in 1 minute and 15, but DAMWON Gaming maybe looking to get frisky.
Feels like they're just so confident to get on in there. Grace, no TP. Does have his ultimate, though. And they're looking to take position here in the mid-turret, but coming from behind is Jin Air. Will they actually go for the engage here? Looks like they're going to say no and just go for a push in the mid lane.
This is really interesting because Grace could have just stayed top lane because Nuguri doesn't have teleport available, and then it would draw Ares away from the team. And if Ezreal's not there, then Jin Air can take a straight up 4v4 in mid if DAMWON Gaming would persist on. And so Jin Air not really reading the map correctly, end up missing out on that opportunity. And so game's almost even here in gold, but again, Jin Air in a straight up 5v5, they are still really far ahead.
Certainly feels that way. You take a look at the defensive items that you can just see here on your screen. From the side of Jin Air, it's double Guardian Angel, double Banshee's Veil for the AD dealers as well as the AP dealers, respectively. So feeling pretty good about that. The two-shot barrage does nothing, and we have entered full ARAM mode.
And now at this point of the game, we are gracing everyone with the nail.
Oh, here we go. 5 members straight onto the Baron.
Oh, wow. That damage.
And, you know, they do a lot of damage, but they were seen. So, DAMWON certainly have a chance to get on in here. Redemption going to help out a bit, but already in goes the Ezreal. You can see that Nova has to back away. Double Mountain to the side of DAMWON, and uh-oh.
What?
Jin Air, did you just leash it for them? They're going to have to try to come back in here, and the smite goes down to the Olaf. In goes double Galio ultimate, though. It's getting rowdy in here. Big taunt in the back of the pool. Showmaker trying to make something happen in the back line. But take a look at Ares, who's raining hell from over that wall. Not quite able to get any kills, and a couple of kills do go the way of Jin Air, but Baron, a big objective, goes to DAMWON.
I'm a little bit speechless, Brendan. I'm going to need you to keep talking right now for me. Oh!
How about a kill? 800 gold. Over here, the price is right for Showmaker.
Well, the price is right indeed. DAMWON now, this Baron is going to persist on through Elder, which means they're going to have both of these endgame buffs available. And, I mean, oh man, well, the Baron was started by Jin Air Green Wings despite being spotted by DAMWON Gaming. DAMWON says thanks for the leash. They start the Baron, but we can see that straight up Jin Air should win the fight. It's only later on in these extended sequences that the LeBlanc and Ezreal try to chip away when everyone's in a full-on retreat. They're not held together and fortifying their own position, and members end up getting picked off. But I actually think DAMWON might have just lost the game because I can't imagine how they're going to survive against the Baron in a 4-dragon
Jin Air,
Elder.
right?
Or yeah, Jin Air
yeah.
Green Wings.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. I mean, now DAMWON even have the confidence to say, with Baron buff, you can't really approach us here at Elder. And honestly, after that play, I mean, we've seen some tilting stuff. That's definitely a big one. Just the Realm Warp in the face of DAMWON when you don't have any mountains and you don't have the best Baron damage. It's a bit of, honestly, disrespect, and they get punished for it, as now DAMWON, they just want to take a fight here, trying to get onto Root. He's all alone. Has to flash on in there. Here comes Silas from the top. He's actually going to get stunned down as Nuguri in a bit of trouble. We're swapping sides here, boys. As what is going on? The fiesta begins. Malrang, nice kick into 3 people. Gonna get the Ezreal a huge amount of damage from the side of DAMWON. In goes Grace. Nuguri gonna steal that Realm Warp to try to get away. And he will, but they take out the Ezreal, which is huge for Jin Air.
Yeah, and these team fights are actually so exciting with the Silas because I can't really tell what's going on, whose ultimate's who. They were on opposite sides of the map, with DAMWON being closer to the enemy's nexus than they were their own. And, okay, so they still have the Baron minions. They're going to be able to get this mid inhibitor.
Nuguri took the Chaos Storm. He's able to push it out, and now Showmaker and Punch trying to make this interesting from behind.
So this is actually a really bad choice, and the reason for that is because Ezreal has teleport. And so you elected to get a mid inhibitor, which doesn't allow you to end the game. If you would win a team fight straight up anyway, you didn't need the super minion. All that you would need is a cannon to raise the Nexus turrets at 45, plus minutes. So now, rather than just take the Elder Dragon, you took a mid inhibitor that you can't do anything with. And now DAMWON Gaming, they're gonna get the Elder.
I mean, it definitely looks that way as Malrang pretty low on health, and Double Mountain coming in a big way. Down it goes, and Malrang can't even get close. And that means that now the Elder is on, and DAMWON, they're rushing to the fight. They want blood right now. The chains coming on down, and the fear beyond death, it's on to Linderong. Can they get it? Yes, they can. And Nova this time around not able to do enough here. The Mimic chains coming down onto him.
Whoa.
He should be going down here. Grace trying to make a case to shoot them back, but in goes Ares. He's getting all the pokes down, and nice little kick there, but you have Elder Dragon now. They'd love to push this wave.
Yeah, and this is the problem is you traded a middle inhibitor, but the super minion never matters with how your team composition functions.
They're going for it.
Yeah, double teleport. I think this is going to be the end of the game. Double Mountain enhanced by the Elder. They have a minion wave. Victor and Ryze are here.
And Galio.
Yep, Galio as well for wave clear, but look at how fast these turrets fall.
It's Double Mountain, and they have a couple of minions to go for it. Just take out the turrets, boys. They're going to go for it here. Nova trying desperately to stop them, and DAMWON, they're just playing with their food now. Going to get a bunch more kills. It took a while, and it was a bit of a fiesta, but DAMWON Gaming finally take game number 1.
That was a series of...
I love you trying to find the right words, like...
TOS, right?
What
TOS.
keeps me on
Valdez.
this desk? Like, how far can
How don't I get fired? Hold on, slow down. That was a series of unfortunate calls that led to some relatively poor game states for Jin Air to try to salvage and recover from. And it was great opportunistic captures by DAMWON that allowed them to secure that win. I think I'm safe.
Yeah, I think you toned it down enough. You took it down like 7 LS tiers on that one. I like it. It's just the unfortunate reality, right? There are just multiple mega mistakes that come in, and you can't really avoid that, right? If you're Jin Air, and honestly, I feel like this has happened 2 times in a row now, where Sandbox and DAMWON Gaming come in against Jin Air, and I mentioned like disrespect as a word from Jin Air to DAMWON in terms of the Realm Warp, but like these teams are coming in against Jin Air. They're playing subs. They're playing not their top game,
right? And
it's like, I don't know, it's just not a good look for me, Ellis.
You know what, though? I mean, Jin Air, they found themselves in positions that we were talking about way earlier on today. It feels a lot, it actually feels a lot better to lose in the way that they just lost that game. which is very bad, big mistakes.
Yeah.
Like the Baron. That's an easy thing to look at and fix in hindsight, but it's not easy to get to that point. And that's one of the most difficult things, is actually getting to the point where you have these really, really major decisions to make. And so in that way, you can actually have a little bit of relief that you're losing over something that, in a way, is so small. But taking a look at the stats of Victor versus the world on the side of Jin Air Green Wings, and that's actually very surprising. You would think that the Rise would be doing a lot more. And credit to DAMWON Gaming, they managed to drag Silas over the finish line. So.
They were dragging him, man, by the chains. He was, you know, oh man, just he needed that drag over the finish line, man. That was a hard one for him. I can't believe he gets his second win here in the LCK.
Maybe his last. I'm not sure.
I hope so, man. That's interesting one, guys. I hope you enjoyed Game 1, because I would expect that Game 2 is more of the same, unless DAMWON can kind of get their act together. We'll have to wait and see, guys, after the commercial break. We'll be right back.